Hey, good night, everyone. Right, I'm back. The 7th of October, 2024, 12-minute converse log. Here we go. Today I had 14 conversations. Uh, I believe what's happening in the US and a few places, right? Like Mexico, there's there's not great weather, and I can imagine people are preparing for what is to come, hoping that all works out well in the midst of all that's going on. Some people still showed up to have conversations with me, which was really, really, I appreciate it, yeah, that people would still come out and have a conversation, a 12-minute conversation in the midst of everything. So, really thankful for that. We had 14 conversations. One second here. Just a bit of a technical error here with the broadcast to LinkedIn. All right, we're back. So, yeah, just again, for those that came out, thank you very much. Um, so, big takeaway today, job security came up, but not from the perspective of, hey, there's nothing like job security again, but from the perspective of choosing a job that you actually love. I heard that a lot today. Two people specifically, Angela Batiste and Nicole Shamuel, they talked about choosing to pursue a career. So, for example, with Angela, it was after 26 years. So, there are two sides of the coin here, right? And then Nicole, I'm not sure how long she worked in corporate, but she began working with people with hair loss, and she found her joy in the joy that people got from working with her, and she stepped away as well. Angela, on the other side, loved coaching, did the John Maxwell coaching course, and decided, you know what, I'm going to jump in there. I also had Tamika, who functioned in the HR space as well, and she talked about stepping away as well. I'm not encouraging people to step away from their day jobs, right? But the following your purpose theme seems to be something that hit. I had a fun conversation with Bridget as well. Her name is spelled, well, it's Dingle, right? So if you look closely, you could see the angel. I had an epiphany as well. There are people that call me Engel, and there are people that call me Angel. And it didn't bother me. It's 12 minutes. People come on here and they say, "Good morning, Engel." And with that joy, right? And I find it challenging to take the air out of the joy balloon to say, "Hey, it's Angel." And that has happened hundreds of times in the past. So some people go on to prepare for the podcast by listening to previous episodes. And they hear my name being pronounced Engel. So they come in with the full confidence of saying, "Hey, Engel, how are you doing?" And initially, I remember the first time Amanda heard it, my wife, for those who don't know, but the first time Amanda heard it, she said, "You should correct them. You should let them know that it's Angel." So I started doing that. Like I had verbiage that said you pronounce my name N and gel, like hair gel, right? Did different things. But people's perception of something, for so many different reasons, is exactly what it is. And it remains that way. And maybe over time it changes for some reason or the other, but it it's I was speaking with someone, and while having the conversation, I thought, wait a minute. In different languages, my name is going to be pronounced differently anyway. So, what is the big challenge with it? It's still me, still my voice. Excuse, it's not going to change who I am. So, I've embraced Engel, and who knows what else I would embrace. Jody connected with me after 8 years, and she's in Mexico, and she says because her name starts with J, people are calling her Yodi, and she when I told her about it, she said, okay, yeah, I get it. But one of the biggest conversations I had this morning, which was very early, was with Tiffany. And if you look at her, the spelling of Tiffany, it's Tiffiny. And Tiffany, when I told her it, she began coaching me on, hey, but come on now, this is your name, right? And when I explained it to her, she's like, all right, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. But then when we went into the conversation, and she represents standing in the gap for those that were abused. Now, folks, just to bring to reality what I'm doing here, the podcast process is that I interview people, then we edit the conversations. That's where we put intro and a summary and the music that goes with the podcast, right? And then we release it. So this is me doing a log of the conversations I've had because usually I'm doing this and there's no record of the process other than like in 2017. Like this was one of the ways I did my log, right? I wrote down who I was speaking with. This is 2017, and their names in there, right? And that's how I logged it. This is the updated version, and hopefully, it's something my sons can look back at, possibly my grandchildren, right? To see what the process was like. And I think it's cool having people be highlighted again for all they do in this world. So that is what this is. So the podcast episodes will come out slower, uh, but they'll be there eventually. Nevertheless, Tiffany Hall had an amazing conversation with her. She talked about domestic abuse. She was stabbed 7 times. She was at the hospital on the 10th floor, is the story she told me. And filled with, she was full of shame of how do I even tell this story? And in having the conversation with her, it was interesting to me that today is the 7th of October. And she's shared these numbers of being stabbed 7 times, being in that place of where do I go to next? And again, just representing that most times people, when they're embraced with the conversation of domestic abuse, the thought is, what did she do to deserve that? Like there had to be something she did to deserve that. And she, she had to go through that conversation. But now she stands in the gap for other women who've experienced domestic abuse to let them know you did not do anything to deserve this. It was a very riveting conversation. Enjoyed it tremendously for the champion she is in standing in the gap for others. So those are the types of conversations that seem to be resonating a lot with me. People who are having an experience, they could turn and run away into the horizon, instead, they turn back to help others. So, Tiffany Hall, thanks for passing through this morning. Really enjoyed the conversation. It's my lowest score so far, 14 conversations in one day. But I'm so thankful because I get to connect with some amazing people. Yeah. So for all those that pass through, thanks for passing through and having a conversation. Have a great night. Till the next day.